Charter Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance. In the Central Valley today on our road show throughout the state of California, we are joined by John Pedrozo. He is a supervisor in Merced County, and I'd like to speak with you, sir, about the water situation in the Central Valley, which kind of hovers central. We were saying it kind of central California, but more north.
Right.
And so, you know, we in Southern California were so excited about the El Nino that was going to come.
Right.
And Southern California got nothing. But Central and Northern did pretty well, including Merced.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
Give us a sense of what we saw this winter.
Well, we know for up north, we know that way up north,
North State.
Abundance. I mean, I heard that the dams are all full and they released water to go down south. I did hear that, which is unbelievable.
I had visited with our crew here Shasta Lake 2 summers ago, and it looked as if we were on the Martian surface. And then I hear that Shasta Lake released.
They had to release because of the abundance of rain, but they had already got way more rain last year than we did, you know, here in the valley. But then this year, as far as for the San Joaquin Valley, Merced's average year total is probably about 12 inches, and I think we're about 15, 16 inches. So
what does that mean to you and your constituents? What has 2016 been like compared to 2013, 14, and 15?
Well, it's kind of a good news, bad news situation because, you know, we're still, you know,
are the effects still
being felt? Yes, you're still in a drought situation because of the depletion of the aquifer underneath. So that's one of the issues that we were facing. But we do know that the aquifer has risen, and so things are getting better.
I was speaking with, for example, State Senator Anthony Cannella, who represents.
Very good friend of mine.
Does he represent your district as well?
Yes.
And he was describing for me the concept of subsidence. I was not familiar with that concept, and what that concept is when the ground gets so dry, and when the groundwater is so depleted. You're saying it. The ground sinks on itself.
Right.
And what's unfortunate about it is that you can't really puff it back up. And so we've seen subsidence throughout the Central Valley. Has that subsided? Has the subsidence subsided?
No, because but what's happening, because a lot of that is in my district. My district is District 1, so I represent
Northern.
I got the west side, which would be in the El Nido area, which is part of an unincorporated community where a lot of the subsidence has happened. So what Merced County did, and I think I talked about this probably our last show, but Merced County was one of the first counties in the state that implemented a water ordinance for well drilling. So what now we've implemented is there's maps out there that'll detect where the subsidence is. So when you send in your application for a well, you have to make sure that you don't go below the Corcoran clay, because if you go below the Corcoran clay, that's what causes.
Corcoran clay?
That's
Teach me.
Okay, what that is.
Teach us.
Well, you have your water level, and then with the Corcoran clay, if you have to punch through the Corcoran clay, that's what's going to cause the subsidence.
I see.
Because the clay is going to sink, and then cause the ground to sink.
So let me ask you.
The more you pump or suck out of the ground, that's what the problem is.
The reality is people are very protective of their groundwater. They feel as if this is my land, what's under my land is mine. And so what type of response did you receive when you were putting these restrictions on groundwater?
Some were
not happy.
Some were favorite, you know, they wanted to see something done because we kept telling them that we didn't want the state to come in to tell us what we had to do. So that's why Merced County met with a large number of stakeholders for almost a year and a half before we implemented this ordinance. But when we did implement it, and you have to go through the process, of course, but I mean, if you go down 500 feet and you don't see any Corcoran clay, you're okay. But if you want to punch a well at 500 feet and 150 feet, there's Corcoran clay, you might have to do a full-blown EIR to see what it's going to do for subsidence issue.
Now, as you know, last summer, the state of California did pass a groundwater regulation scheme.
Right.
Now, it gives communities plenty of time to regulate groundwater. But you said it, if the communities don't adopt groundwater regulation plans, the state does come in.
Right.
So did you get a jump start on that?
We're going to have a jump start on that. And then yesterday, or whenever this airs, recently, when I was in a meeting, because myself and another one of my colleagues, we represent the water committee for Merced County. So anyways, we're in the stages now of putting our GSAs together,
That's
groundwater sustainability agencies. And then you have your GSPs, which is another part of this. But you want to have all these in place before, so the state doesn't come in and try to dictate to you what you have to do. So that's what we're working on now. And forming these agencies is going to be the trick, because you have water agencies that want to be their own, but yet the county still is a player in it because it is the county.
I also wonder if your residents, constituents, are feeling as if that these conservation measures mandated by the state, especially on residents and business, not so much on ag, and ag's playing a role, I'm not going to bash ag, but are they feeling as if, well, wait a second, we got plenty of rain. Sorry, SoCal, you can keep your conservation going, but these mandatory measures are killing us here.
Right.
Or is there a sense that, look, we know that even though it's been a better year, we still are all in this together?
I think overall, because of what we went through the past three or 4 years, I think that people realize that we did get a substantial amount of rain, but I still think that they're being cautious and not wanting to go through this again. Because I think I even said this last year is, thank God we got the rain that we got, but now we're allocating surface water to our farmers this year, and last year we didn't get to do that.
Is that through the Central Valley Project?
That's MID, Merced Irrigation District, but the runoff from up above from the snow, from the Yosemite and stuff, has been kept in Lake McClure and Don Pedro.
When we spoke last year, we were talking about the scapegoat du jour in the water crisis, and then it was almonds, as we say in the Central Valley. And it was
Almond Joy, almond tree.
Exactly, and it was remarkable how on Facebook I was seeing constant attacks on almonds and how it takes a gallon of water to grow one almond, however you want to say it. And, and then we learned it's a lot more complicated than that. I mean, it takes, I don't know how many gallons of water for beef, and be that as it may. But my question, though, now that almonds are off the shooting range, how is the almond industry doing here in the Central Valley? Because it's an important one, and it's a lucrative one, and we take nothing away from our farmers who want to make a living, especially when our friends in Asia are looking to buy our almonds. And how's that looking?
Well, I know the market is kind of hit it down turn, but there's still a profit in it.
Okay.
I think one of the problems was, it's like anything else, it's feast or famine. Right. So once something starts doing real good, then everybody wants to become an almond farmer, or that's just the way the system works. But I think overall, I mean, the market took a downturn, but everything in agriculture for some reason has kind of gone on the downside right now.
I'd like to ask you about dairy, another very important industry for the Central Valley, for Merced County. I know during the drought there were fields that were fallowed that had been dedicated to dairy farms. How are we looking this year, sir?
The dairy industry is probably being hit the hardest right now.
Still?
Because of the price they're being paid for their milk. The only thing that's saving the dairy industry right now, by talking to some of the dairymen, is that price of feed is way down.
Well, that's surprising. You'd think, why?
That's the $10 million answer, question right now. It's because there's no idea. And then fuel costs are at a level to where you can, but you're not paying $5 a gallon for diesel. You're paying $2.50, which makes a big difference.
Sure.
So, and then it's just like the price of feed, corn and silage and alfalfa has really, for some reason, and if you talk to these guys, they have no idea why. It's gone.
Good to talk to you again. His
always
name
a pleasure.
You bet. He's John Pedrozo. He is a supervisor in Merced County. We're in the Central Valley today. My name is Brad Pomerance, Charter Local Edition.